Hello, I am Andy Thorai. Yep, that's Thorai with an AI. I'm a VP and Principal Analyst at Constellation Research, covering all things AI related.
And I'm Doug Henshin, VP and Principal Analyst at Constellation Research, covering data to decisions. And we're your co-hosts for episode 21 of Constellation Research TV. And joining us later in the show will be our Constellation colleagues, Liz and Holger. That's right, the Miller twins, Liz Miller and Holger Mueller. And we'll have a recorded day one recap from our very own Constellation Connected Enterprise event. And then that was 2 weeks ago. Then we'll have a segment about the Supernova Awards, the winners that were announced. And then we'll have a conversation at the end of the show. Holger and Liz will come back and we'll talk about all sorts of things.
That's right, Doug. But first, let's talk about the news. So, Doug, what's new in your world since the last episode of CRTV?
Well, I'd say those crazy valuations for AI companies just keep rolling on. The latest examples, Data IQ, a $400 million round for a $4.6 billion valuation. H2O AI, a $100 million round for a $1.6 billion valuation. Of course, in the last show that Andy and I did, we were talking about Databricks, a $1.6 billion round for a $38 billion valuation. It's crazy time. Andy, what's your take on all of this?
It is crazy time. And you mentioned about some peanuts of unicorn valuation, but you forgot the bigger ones. DataRobot got a $300 million or $6 billion valuation. Scale AI of all got $325 million at $7 billion valuation. I mean, talk about the gold rush, right? Right now is the AI gold rush, not only in valuation, funding. People have a run-in on for the talent, and that's another thing, talent shortage in the AI companies. It's everywhere. So here's the thing, right? So I spoke to a few startup AI founders and asked them this question: what do you think of this? The answers, in no particular order, which I thought is interesting. One, the funding is abundant. They don't have to go around look for too far. People are lined up outside their door, outside their Zoom calls.
As long as they put AI on the company, it doesn't really matter. Right. If it's actually AI, they just have to
not
call
just
it
AI in the company. Your website has to have a .ai at the end of it, right? So, so not only funding is abundant, there's something they told me which kind of made me think. One of the things they were telling me is, taking a seed funding can be a sign of weakness and undervaluation. So these companies want to run as much as they can without taking a seed funding or without taking money for as much as they can, so they can get unicorn status whenever they need, right? And the other thing that they told me is pretty interesting is the first round funding is the most difficult because everybody wants to do a valuation, want to figure it out, if you're worthy and the whole nine yards. But once you get that, they're being pressured to take the second, third rounds because it's already vetted by someone, especially if it is someone big, right? I mean, Tiger Global is all over the place in investing in AI companies, but everybody's after them. And if they are vetted by someone else, it's blank checks galore. They're like, you know what? Take my money, take my money, take my money.
Yeah, there's just too much money floating around. In fact, I saw a TechCrunch article last week that cited data from the Silicon Valley Bank that VCs are basically paying more and more money for smaller slices of less and less profitable companies. So, really safe to say we're in an AI bubble.
Profit? What profit? What are you talking about? But bubble, I agree. I mean, I'm not trying to say that this is the end of AI bubble, but this is where it all starts, the crazy valuations. We'll see.
Yeah. So the second big news development in my world last week was the Microsoft Ignite event. Yep. We had Satya Nadella talking up the metaverse. They announced Loop, a new collaborative feature in Microsoft 365. I'll be talking more about those with Liz and Holger at the end of the show. But more down to earth announcements. Scott Guthrie, Asad Khan, the program manager for data engineering databases, essentially. They delivered what I'd say is the meteor news for me. Highlights included a hybrid focus for SQL Server 2022, integrations with Azure Purview, their metadata management, a catalog and governance service, integration with Azure Purview and Synapse, I should say, their Lakehouse, their analytical data store, But to me, really telling was they spent a lot of time talking about Azure SQL Management lift and shift. So a lot of companies really aren't, reinventing themselves. They're just kind of lifting and shifting into the cloud. That was telling. Also, they made announcements about Power BI, Gen 2 with higher scalability. They also announced something in preview for hybrid tables, which is about having historical analysis and real-time analysis together. So essentially, it's the old Microsoft playbook of taking, Power BI in this case. What is many would have said Power BI is kind of a mediocre giveaway service. The critics, their competitors would say, it's a giveaway. It's mainly about getting all your data into Azure. It doesn't scale. It doesn't handle real-time analysis. Well, here they're working on Power BI, adding that scalability, adding that real-time analysis. So, they just keep to their knitting, and they, keep rolling Power BI into the enterprise license agreements. Tough to compete with them, and they're kind of unrelenting pressure on the market. Andy, what did you see in Ignite?
Yeah, so so the infrastructure side of cloud things, Amazon won it. It's answer is final, right? But when it comes to AI, still there's a lot of competition, and Microsoft is betting huge, and I see a lot of things they are doing that could make them a clear winner in the near future, right? For example, the OpenAI, which was converted to commercial just about 9 months ago or a year ago, got a massive funding from Microsoft, right? Microsoft not only got a massive funding, but Microsoft got the exclusive license to use the underlying engine. I mean, you can still use the commercial models through the API, but it's controlled by Microsoft.
Wait a minute. If it's exclusively for Microsoft, how is it open?
Well, so the engine and the source code and the model creation, all of that is exclusive. But the API, you could use it. It's an open license. So you could, the same way that Google used to do it. Everything is owned by Google, but you could use that API to do what you want, whether it's, language translation, what have you, right? But the thing is, the GPT's full version, they came out and they blew everybody's mind out. They did what's called 175 billion parameters, okay? Machine learning parameters is the sort of equivalent of a variable, if you want to call it in math. And then the hyperparameter is the one that's tunable, that's not input from the data, but you could do it outside. 175 billion, man, that's huge. But guess what Microsoft did? They went and partnered with NVIDIA between their NVIDIA's Megatron and Microsoft DeepSpeed. They created a Megatron Turing natural language, MTNLG. And you thought this 175 billion was huge? They came back with 530 billion parameters. And that's based on a data that's 1 terabyte, the pile data. So, but more importantly, what scares me is they have parallelized the architecture now. So this is not the end. You could run on multiple or even cloud GPUs. So which means end is near, man.
Are you saying this is the singularity, or what? What do you mean? What are you scared about?
Well, it's not a singularity, but again, if you think this is all scary, the scariest thing is this is not even close to the final end of it, right? The biggest natural language processing model is owned by Chinese-backed Beijing Agency of Artificial Intelligence, BAAI, the Wudao 2.0. It's about 5 times more powerful than what we're talking about here. We're talking about a 1.7 trillion parameters. So which means in the AI game, China is way ahead of us, way ahead of it, which means they can do a lot of stuff that we are not even thinking about.
Ouch. Well, we'll have to contemplate that. That's it for this week's news summary. Let's go to our day 2 recap from our in-person Constellation Connected Enterprise event. And following that, we'll have a summary of the Supernova award winners. And we'll meet you back here with Holger and Liz to wrap it all up.
Hello everybody, it's Holger Müller live from CRTV with my colleagues Doug Henschen and Liz Miller, sharing our impressions of so far. We're basically at half mark, right?
Yeah, it's like a hot take from CCE. So what stood out for you, Doug?
First day, all about futures. We had Byron Reese given a great and very optimistic view of technology coming to save humanity. I love his metaphor that Homo sapiens were bit by radioactive spiders because Unlike the Homo erectus that in 80,000 generations couldn't have an advance over the basic hatchet,
Right.
that humans went from, primitive language to Shakespeare in 250 generations.
Yeah, all overnight.
Went from Kitty Hawk to landing on the moon in 3 generations. So yay people, yay technology.
Go us.
Great keynote.
Metaverse is coming.
And the best thing was, if a machine can do it, don't let the human do it. It's dehumanizing, right?
That
On the
was
sphere
so
of
interesting.
automation,
The
yeah.
dehumanization conversation was awesome
Finally,
because it was
somebody said that.
right. Don't tell the person you're being replaced because the machine can do it better.
Right.
No, it's the machine's taking the mundane thing away from
Right.
you so you can be better. I thought that was a great day one. Day two, we've really been talking about everything from
Wait,
CX
one more
to
thing
me-
on day
yeah.
one.
Okay.
And his take that, hey, it's very easy for humans to foresee how technology will destroy jobs, but we're very poor at imagining all the jobs that technology will create. And his
Yeah.
optimistic point was that we're going to have a shortage of humans for all the jobs, and he's optimistic that we're going to have limitless energy.
Yep.
And even the ends of things like poverty, just executional problems at this point.
I thought that was great. And the fact that you end day one by getting a whole lobster,
Yeah, can't
that's
really
not, you
beat
can't
that.
really beat that,
Sorry, you
right?
couldn't have been
Except
there.
for the
Because
people who
sorry,
don't eat crustaceans.
sorry
like,
everyone.
yeah, sorry,
but
Mr. Lobster.
day two, we're going to end on a high note. We're going to have S&A awards tonight. Are you excited about
right.
those?
I am. 2 categories for me: Supernova awards, data decisions finalists, tech optimization. What categories do you got?
Gosh, I've got next generation customer experience, and I've got marketing optimization.
And I got the boring part of future of work, right? Like Diane Hinchcliffe has the exciting part, right? I just do the HR stuff.
Right.
Future of work. But an interesting winner for that.
See,
Pandemic, actual situation.
I have a winner that I don't know. I don't know how gracious I'm going to be in my awarding of it. There might be some bitterness. I don't know, but tune in tomorrow where we'll give you another live update. Coming at you live from Half Moon Bay. Here we are, CRTV.
This is halftime of CCE 2021, pretty much.
Exactly.
Halftime break.
They
We're
can
doing
catch
this.
these on YouTube, right?
Yep.
There we
Catch us
go.
anywhere.
See them
You can
live,
catch some of
everyone.
these segments on YouTube if you want to know more about what we're talking about.
Thanks for watching.
Catch you next time.
Hey, this is Doug Henschen of Constellation Research here with my analyst colleagues Holger Mueller and Liz Miller, here to share our final thoughts on our own live and in-person Constellation Connected Enterprise event, as well as other events, such as last week's Microsoft Ignite event. But let's start off where we last all saw each other in a real live and in-person event, Constellation Connected Enterprise in Half Moon Bay. So great to be back at a live event. And I guess I got to say my take is the biggest theme was just processing the past 18 months, and I think anybody who goes to their first live event, it's going to be all about just talking about how you survived the pandemic and what is going to be the lasting impact, which was really the theme that came up at every single panel. Guys, what did you think?
It was like trying to remember what to pack. Like, honestly, I spent like the first minute in Half Moon Bay realizing that I had lost all travel muscle memory and all event muscle memory. Like, I was like, what is a lanyard? Why do I have to put all these ribbons on? Like, it was just mind blowing. But then seeing people, I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I got to hug Paul Greenberg, I almost started crying because it was like, we used to get to see him every other week, and then not hugging Paul for 2 years was just ridiculous. So it was. I think you're totally right, Doug. I mean, I think that first event, you got to give yourself the opportunity to let the eventness of it all sink back in.
But maybe we have to say that Paul Greenberg is the super intense hugger, right? So
he is.
He's probably the most huggy-duggy analyst, and we love him for that. Right?
I've never gotten hugged.
For people who didn't know that, right?
You've never
got
gotten
he never hugged Doug, right? So he was wondering. I
guess he's not huggy-duggy.
We're gonna have to figure this one out.
You're not as huggy-duggy? Okay, fine.
We're gonna have to solve this problem. But the other thing that I thought was really interesting was it wasn't like in 2020 when we were talking about the pandemic. There was still a sense of hey, we're getting through this. We're climbing up out of this. There was a little of that in 2020. This year, especially seeing everybody in person, it was like we did it. We went through it. we kept going, and it was really more about, okay, how do we use that as our foundation than everything that maybe we even did in like 2000 as the foundation. Like, it's almost like all of that cloud transformation, all of the hard work that everyone put in across every part of the enterprise, that becomes the foundation for the next conversation about acceleration. And so it's funny because I think like the vendors I spoke to are super excited about that. The end users, like the people who were in the trenches, were like, yeah, that sounds really great. I've been running for 2 years. Now what? You know, like, it was almost like they want to see that acceleration, but there's a little bit of like, couldn't we just enjoy this for a little bit? I don't know if you guys saw that as well.
But we're not going to get beyond that kind of conversation for another year. I felt like, okay, it's because everybody over the next year is going to be having their first, you know, post-pandemic live and in-person event. So it'll still be the topic for some time to come. I almost was a little fatigued by that topic by the end of CCE a little bit because it came up in every panel. So it's like, how do we like get beyond it was kind of my thought.
Yeah, but
I think they kept talking about all the Holger stuff.
We're not going to get beyond it, right? So, because like you said, it's different ecosystems of people coming together. We are the lucky guys or girls who go to multiple events and they're overlapping and say, oh, this is so boring. For most of the participants, it's their first event, right? So that will be probably the theme for the first events happening. And even if someone doesn't have an event in 2021 and 2022, it's going to be in 2023. It's going to be the same thing, right? Because we're so used of going to the conference. We're so used to have the in-person fabric and interaction quality and miss it, right? Knowingly or not knowingly, right? And all the muscle memory comes back, even if it's hard to know what to pack and which TSA lines to go and so on. But yeah, for me, the key takeaway was it was really about doing things and figuring out how to do the best thing. Of course, love what you said, Liz, with acceleration. Enterprise acceleration is my buzz. Research.
That's what I'm saying. It's like next year is going to be like the year of Holger, and I'm a little worried about that. Like, I'm a little concerned that like 2022 might be the year of Holger, because it, like, everyone kept saying the word, like everyone was saying, like, how do I go faster? How do I accelerate? But it wasn't like, how do my teams? It's like, how does my business accelerate? How do I get my applications to accelerate? How does the cloud accelerate? And I was like, oh, damn, Holger's going to be talking a lot next year.
Well, but the secret is, right, this has been going on all the time already. We just weren't aware of it, right? Because you see things are moving faster and people are getting more productive, right? You see it in the US economy, right? 5 million less people employed, and we're still 8 or 9, 11% more productive, right? How on earth can that happen, right? It's technology. It's been technology all the time, and that's what we cover.
All right, speaking of tech, let's move on to topic 2, Microsoft Ignite. Satya Nadella chiming in on the metaverse. I thought he gave a pretty cogent explanation, a new platform layer, bringing people, places, and things together, embedding the digital world into the physical spaces and the physical world into the digital universe. Your takeaway on the metaverse or Microsoft Ignite?
The metaverse. I always feel like anytime says the word, there should be like a poof of like glitter that comes out from someplace, like the metaverse. But no, I totally agree with you, Doug. I really liked his explanation, because I think that a lot of people are struggling with the concept of what is the metaverse. And the thing that's the hardest for people to understand is that it's not a destination, right? It is, I think that's what people are trying to wrap their heads around right now, that it is this immersive, shared experience that transcends a destination or a channel or a location like we're kind of used to thinking about. And so for businesses, that gets really hard to think of, because we're used to corralling channels and places we want our customers to engage and transact. Whereas in the metaverse, it really is going to be like that moment where, like, Holger's avatar on his Peloton, because he's riding so fast and so long, is going to have built up enough credits to go grocery shopping, so that the time that Holger's done with his ride in real life, his groceries are sitting outside because his Peloton avatar has done the shopping for him. Did I just explain the metaverse? I think I did.
I think pretty well, especially because it involves Peloton grocery shopping, which is a love and hate relationship together. Who likes to go grocery shopping?
That's true.
Well, he had some practical examples, like virtual retail, like factory spaces. You could think of digital twins, IoT, and not just the airy-fairy stuff we hear about in some examples.
Oh, yeah, like a digital twin in supply chain, so you can problem solve and accelerate that down. Like, stuff like that is coming. It's here. So I think the thing that I liked about all of the conversation around Ignite and the metaverse was that it wasn't this far off vision. Like, oh, we're going to build it and 5 years from now, you're all going to enjoy it because that's when the headsets are going to be less expensive, right? It's here, it's now. People are already experiencing parts of it. So that is how we have to start talking about, again, it comes back to the year of Holger, how we have to accelerate those business applications. God, I hate that I'm selling all of his stuff. Really, Holger, come on.
Holger, speaking of Holger, you were waxing poetic on our water cooler, a little internal collaboration space about Loop. Tell us about Loop.
Yes, super interesting, but quick comment on the metaverse, right? I mean, it's going to come gradually, exactly like you guys said. It's not going to be the third life, right? Remember Second Life, where it was all in or out, right? So that's not going to work. It's going to come gradually. And what I missed from Ignite, coming back to that, is where is the HoloLens fitting in this, right? Because Microsoft has been doing, before we called it metaverse, mixed reality, as they call it, in a very committed way, not giving up on the HoloLens like Google did on the Google Lens at the time. So I would love to see that. But Loop is super interesting. Finally, a reaction to people working in a hybrid world. Of course, another Office application. Why couldn't this be put into Teams or other places? But I think it's good to see, given the relevance.
I can. That's my understanding. Is it's componentized, and you can have these little things show up everywhere.
But there's still a line to be sold by Brink as another Office icon, right? Who can remember all the Office icons still? So yeah, I would love to have seen it like as a fabric across it, but kudos to Microsoft to do this, because it's a huge challenge for people to be productive working in the hybrid world, right? So good, let's see how well it will be doing, and let's see if Constellation ever adopts it.
No.
Still from that company that Microsoft acquired before they started Teams, not to mention.
Our subject. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for this week. Liz and Holger, thank you for joining, and we'll see you all in the metaverse.
Thanks, Doug.
Hey folks, Doug Henshin, Constellation Research. You've probably heard about our Constellation Connected Enterprise event held each year in Half Moon Bay, California at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Well, we were off last year in 2020 due to the pandemic, but we are on again this year, 2021 in October. And as always, the highlight was the Supernova Awards Gala, because that's where we announce the Supernova Award winners. And this is the 11th edition of the Supernova Awards. We want to thank the more than 80 companies that submitted nominations, as well as the 36 independent influencers and thought leaders who served as our judges and helped us narrow things down to 38 finalists. So without further ado, here are the 9 Supernova Award winners of 2020-21. Now, in the data decisions category, the winner is the United States Air Force Rapid Sustainment Office, represented by Sean Q. Morris. Now, the mission of the Sustainment Office is to keep aircraft flying, and about 70% of that cost is tied to the interplay of aircraft maintenance with supply chains, transportation, engineering, data management, safety, and personnel considerations. Now, working with C3AI, the Rapid Sustainment Office developed and deployed an AI-based predictive maintenance application. And as of March 2021, that application had been rolled out to 12 aircraft platforms, with plans to onboard 9 more for active monitoring of more than 3,000 aircraft. And the Sustainment Office expects savings as much as 5.5 billion with a B annually once this application is deployed across the fleet. In the AI and augmented humanity category, the winner is Midwest Wheel Companies, represented by Steve McEnany, VP of Marketing and Technology. Now, this truck part and accessory distributor developed an AI parts recommendation engine, applying machine learning algorithms to 3 years of historical customer order data in a data lake platform provided by Infor. Now, the recommendation automatically recommends all parts associated with certain types of repairs, as well as cross-sell and upsell recommendations. So it uses closed-loop learning to improve the accuracy of those recommendations. And as a result, the company has increased its sales. It's reduced the time required to process sales orders by 30%, because they're not constantly looking up associated parts. And that's been a big improvement in customer experience and satisfaction, knowing that they're going to get everything they need for a given repair. They won't have to go back and order something that was missing from the order. So a big win there. The winner in the data-driven digital networks and business models category is Alf Cherry. He's the CIO at Commercial Engines and Services, part of GE Aviation. So at GE Aviation, they put a next-generation analytics platform at the heart of the business, and enabled by this dynamic diagnostics and analytics ecosystem, GE Aviation was able to cut operational engine disruptions by 56%, decrease required engine overhauls by 15%, add 12 days of utilization of each engine before service removal, and increase the accuracy of true positives, meaning diagnoses of required maintenance, by 33%. The winner in the digital safety, governance, and privacy category is Excel KKR with Neil Kimber as principal. Now, at Excel KKR, they started to see a disturbing trend, namely their portfolio companies were literally under attack as cyber breaches and attacks had increased over an 18-month period. Now, it used the NIST cybersecurity framework as the basis for building an assessment tool for portfolio companies to measure their cybersecurity maturity. Now, the result was not just a report with some action items, rather it was an extensive and deep maturity assessment that measured individual companies against more than 120 security indicators. Now, each Excel KKR portfolio company was scored and ranked, with each company getting a list of suggested improvements leading to actionable plans. Great use of security technology there. Now, in the future of work employee experience category, the winner is Nestle, represented by Greasy Flores, Senior Product Manager at Nestle IT. Now, Nestle embraced a digital adoption strategy using WalkMe for deployment of a SuccessFactors rollout on a very aggressive 6-week schedule. Now, the results were higher net promoter scores among users, indicating they were very happy when using SuccessFactors with the better training and better rollout. New feature adoption increased thanks to WalkMe's targeted direct in-app messaging, and task completion rates almost doubled. Next up in the future of work human capital management category, the winner is Rico, represented by Alex Joseph, Learning and Development Director. Now, Rico was facing the transition from print to digital services, and when the pandemic hit, the need for reskilling became paramount. So Alex Joseph and his team used the combination of Cornerstone On Demand and Skillsoft to enable hundreds of print engineers to become digital workers. In the marketing and sales effectiveness category, the winner is Aon, led by Lisbeth Mulder. She's in the global reporting lead. So the story at Aon is that they consolidated 6 CRM instances down to 1 streamlined and united CRM solution. Now, Aon worked with Oracle CX Services and Oracle Intelligent Advisor to create automated processes and forms for sales, service, and marketing, and it boiled down 16 different sites and programs to one central place to enable sales, address data quality, and improve overall data health. Now, thanks to this hard work, the Aon team saved 32 days of operational time that would have been lost to slow performance and that bouncing between 16 different systems. So what's more, cross-selling has increased by 15%, a great win. Now, next up is the next generation customer experience category, where the winner is Shark Sports and Entertainment, led by Jonathan Becker, president. Now, during the pandemic, fans could no longer fill the SAP Center in San Jose. So instead of only having fans in stands or having fans glued to game streams, the Sharks invited fans into a whole new virtual experience of simulated games where fans could play alongside pro players. Fans could simulate themselves as their own height, their own shooting hand, their own jersey, their own number. And in one case, a virtual player in a simulation was even injured and carried into the virtual locker room by other simulated players and the Sharks general manager. And then he got a real life call from the trainer hoping he'll get well. So according to the fan, it was, quote, definitely a highlight of 2020 and a moment I won't soon forget, end quote. And this is likely the best response to a next generation customer experience you could hope for. And finally, in the tech optimization and modernization category, the winner is Watami Company, led by Shigeru Wakabashi, IT Strategy Division Chief Information Officer. Watami Group's patchwork of complex legacy systems couldn't accommodate new data-focused business strategies for reforming merchandising, digitizing raw material and product inventory, improving order forecasting, and enabling food transparency and traceability. Now, working with Infor's SaaS applications and analytics platform, Watami was able to optimize its manufacturing and supply chains and make data-driven decisions for a return on investment of $300,000 in 2019 and approximately $3 million in 2020. So congratulations to all of this year's Supernova Awards winners. Let's get a look at them all once again here. And if you'd like to know more about these case studies, visit ConstellationR.com and look under the Events tab for Supernova 2021. Now, these are some of the best case studies we've ever seen. So read more and get to innovating with your organization.
Well, that's a wrap on episode 21 of CRTV. Get set for our next episode coming soon.
That's right. Watch for co-hosts Holger Mueller and Liz Miller, who will be bringing you episode 22 of CRTV. And in the meantime, follow us on Twitter at ConstellationR and on LinkedIn, and follow the hashtag CRTV. Ever think of facing that window so you get the light on your face?
Yeah, it's not easy to do that. Hey, this works, man. That's fine. That's my portal to the next world. I assume it's good.
Hey, switch sides, though.
Here we go again.
Let's try it.
Want to go? You want to go?
Yeah. 2 topics, Andy. We got to just focus on 2 topics.
Dude, you are the one who was talking the most.
I like talking the most.
Stop blaming me. It's your fault.
All right.
3, 2.
Oh, wait.
What?
Hannah. Dog Andy. I could record that again.
Okay. So, what do you want me to say? Now that the big guys are here, am I being kicked out?
There she goes with her Wipro light.
Yes. I've got 4 of them. I'm not kidding you.
All right, leaving.
On painkillers. I'm on caffeine. This is going to be.
There we go. No!
Ah! We look fine. Oh my gosh.
All right.
Have a great Thanksgiving. Be safe while traveling. Bye.